Hi Year 6, welcome to Wednesday's maths lesson. Today we're going to be carrying on having a look at area and perimeter. As usual though, before we go into the main part of our lesson, we have got our daily arithmetic practice. So if you pause the video now and have a go at the 6 questions on the screen. Okay, hopefully you've got on all right with those. So question 1 is column subtraction. Tricks were to line up the digits and make sure that you exchanged if you couldn't take one number away from another. So line up my digits like so. And then the first thing I need to ask myself is, what is 1 take away 9? Now I can't do that, so I have to look to my hundreds column and I have to exchange there. Still doesn't help me, so I've got to then exchange 1 10 for 10 ones, and now I can do it. 11 take away 9 gives me 2, 9 take away 6 is 3, 1 take away 4, hold on a minute, I can't do that, so I've got to exchange again. 11 take away 4 is 7, 2 take away 1 is 1. So my answer is 1732. Okay. Question 2, again a column subtraction. I just had to make sure I was lining up my digits correctly. So I had 6 take away 2.34. And I was making sure I'm lining those digits in my ones column up in the correct columns. You can put some placeholders in after my decimal point to help me know what I'm doing. First of all, I'm going to ask myself, what is 0 take away 4? I can't do that. So I have to exchange, and I'm going to have to go to this ones column to exchange there. Okay, 10 take away 4 is 6, 9 take away 3 is 6. My decimal point drops down into my answer, and 5 take away 2 is 3. So my answer is 3.66. Okay. Question 3, when we're multiplying a decimal by a whole number, remember that's different to how I would set it out for a subtraction. So I'd set it out just like I've done on the screen. Okay, 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 7 is 21, carry my 2, 3 times 1 is 3, add my 2 gives me 4, and my decimal point drops down. Oh, sorry. 1 times 3 is 3, add my 2 is 5, not 4. Try and get that right. And then my decimal point drops down into my answer. So it's 5.19. Okay. Question 4, we're finding a percentage of amount. First job is to find 1%. What is 1% of 460? It's 4.6, and then I'm doing 4.6 times by 93, which I would set out just like I did in question 3, 4.6 times by 93, and this time it's a long multiplication. So 3 times 6 is 18, carry my 1, 3 times 4 is 12, add my 1 is 13. Remember my golden rule for a 0 on my second line when I'm multiplying by the tens. 9 times 6 is 54. Carry my 5. 9 times 4 is 36. Add my 5 is 41. Ooh, not 14, 41. Okay, and the final step is to add those together. So 8 add 0 is 8. 3 add 4 is 7. 1 add 1 is 2. And 4 add nothing is 4. My decimal point has to drop straight down into my answer, so I get the answer 427.8. Okay. Question 5, 1.5 times 240. First of all, I need to ask myself, what is 1 times 140? 1 times 240. 1 times 240 is 240. I could break the note of that. And then I ask myself, what is half of 240? Half of 240 is 120. And then I just need to add them together. So my answer then is 360. Question 6, I would be doing a bus stop method for short division. So we've got 2,272 divided by 4. First of all, I ask myself, how many times does 4 go into 2? The answer is 0. How many times does 4 go into 22? Okay, the answer is 5. Carry my 2. How many times does 4 go into 27? It's a 6. And I carry my 3. How many times does 4 go into 32? It's 8. So my answer is 568. Stretch questions, if you chose to do those today. Number 1, the answer was 262,779. And question 2, the answer was 34. Okay, if you'd like to pause the video in a moment then and give yourself a minute for the times tables today. Okay, year 6. We're going now into the main part of our lesson. Now, in Monday's lesson, you looked at finding the perimeter of shapes, and in Tuesday's lesson, you looked at finding the area of different shapes. Remember, perimeter is the rim or edge of a shape, so measuring all the way around the outside, and it's measured in centimetres because it's a length of something. Area is how much space inside a shape. And for area, we either count the squares inside the shape if they've given us squares, or if not, we need to do length times width. Remember, area is measured in centimetres squared because we are measuring the amount of space taken up by a shape. Today, then, we're kind of combining those two things that we've looked at earlier in the week. So our I can recognise shapes with the same area but a different perimeter. So today's questions are a bit trickier in that they involve working out both area and perimeter. There isn't any fluency for today because actually the nature of this I can is that it's got to be problem solving kind of questions. They've got to be little puzzles for us to work out the answer to. So on the screen I've got some shapes that I've drawn for you, A, B, C, D and E. And then I've got some questions about these shapes. So the first question says find 2 shapes that have the same area but a different perimeter. Question 2 says find 2 shapes that have the same area and perimeter. And question 3 says find 2 shapes which have different areas and different perimeters. So before I can answer any of these questions, what I need to do is I need to calculate the area and perimeter for each shape. Okay, if you're feeling confident and you remembered how to do that, pause the video now and have a go at doing that yourself for each different shape. If you're not feeling so confident, you can watch me work it out now and maybe watch a couple, and then you might be feeling confident enough to pause the video and have a go at the rest yourself. Okay, so shape A then. First of all, I'm going to start off by working out the area, and I'm going to make a little note next to it. So I'm going to say A for area equals. Right, area, remember I can count the squares. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So my area is 4 centimetres squared. Perimeter, I'm adding up the edges of all the sides. So next to shape A, I'm also going to give it a little bit more room. I'm going to write P equals, right, perimeter, I've got 2, add 2, add 2, add 2. So my perimeter is 8 centimetres. Okay, shape B, starting off with the area then. Remember area, looking at my keys to success if I can't remember how to calculate it. Area, I count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's 4 centimetres squared. Perimeter, again looking at my keys to success, I want to add up the edge of all the sides. So I've got 1, add 3 is 4, add 2 more gives me 6, add another 1 gives me 7, add another 1 gives me 8, and add 2 more gives me 10. So P for this shape is 10 centimetres. Okay. Shape C then, again I'm going to start with area. Remember area, count the squares. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 centimetres squared. And the perimeter, remember perimeter, add up the edge of all the sides. So I'm going to start along the bottom. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Add my 1 is 5. Add another 4 gives me 9. Add another 1 gives me 10. So my perimeter is 10 centimetres. Okay, shape D. I'm going to go area, which means count the squares. So we've got 1, 2, 3 whole squares plus 2 halves. That makes another whole plus another half. So 4.5 centimetres squared. The perimeter, got to add up all the sides. I've got 3. Add 1.5 gives me 4.5. Add another 3 gives me 7.5. Add another 1.5 gives me 9 centimetres. And lastly, shape E. Area, count the squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Perimeter, add up all the sides. Okay, so we've got 5 on the bottom. 5, add 1 is 6, add 5 is 11, add 1 more gives me 12. Right, that's the tricky part done. Now I've got to look back at the questions and see if I can answer them. So question 1 says, find 2 shapes that have the same area but a different perimeter. Right, let's look at my workings out then. I want 2 shapes that have got the same area. Well, hang on a minute. A, B and C all have an area of 4 centimetres squared, so they've all got the same area, right? But the question says same area but a different perimeter. Okay, well, A and B have got the same area but a different perimeter. So I could have, for question 1, I could have A and B. Alternatively, I could have A and C because they've both got the same area and they've got a different perimeter. So I could have A and C. Okay, question 2. Find 2 shapes that have the same area and perimeter. So I want same area and same perimeter. Well, the only ones that have got the same area and perimeter are B and C. So for question 2, my answers must be B and C. Okay. Question 3. Find 2 shapes which have different areas and different perimeters. Right, so if I look at my areas, I want different areas and different perimeters. Well, I could have a few options I could have here. I could have A and D, because they've got different areas and different perimeters. I could have A and E, different areas and different perimeters. I can't have A and B because they've got the same area, so it's got to be different. I could have D and B, or E and C. There's lots of options here, but it's really important that they've got different areas and different perimeters. Okay, I'm going to have another look at another type of question that you'll encounter today in your problem solving on maths.co.uk. So this time it says we've got 2 rectangles. They've got the same area but different perimeters. And they've given us the length of the sides on the blue rectangle. And they say, what could the sides of the other rectangle be? So it's really important we know what the question is asking. They've got the same area but different perimeters. Right, same area. So the first step here then is going to be to work out what the area is of this blue rectangle. So remember to find area, use our keys to success. We do length times width. So length is 4, width is 3, 4 times 3. My area of the blue rectangle must be 12 centimetres squared. Okay. Go back to the question. 2 rectangles have the same area. Right, so we know the area of the yellow rectangle must be 12 centimetres squared. But they've got a different perimeter. Right, so I need the length of the sides must be 2 numbers that times together to give me 12. So let's think about what options we could have then. We could have 1 and 12. We could have 2 and 6. We could have 3 and 4, but we've already got that for our blue rectangle, so they're going to be different, aren't they? What else could we have? We could have 4 and 3. but that's the same as that. We could have 6 and 2, but we've already got that one written down. And we could have 12 and 1, but we've already got that one written down. Right then, let's try these then. If this rectangle was 1 centimetre wide, or 1 metre wide, and 12 metres long, and I've just spotted my answers here should be in metres squared, not centimetres squared. Right, so if my rectangle is 12 metres long and 1 metre wide, what would my perimeter be then? Pause the video now and have a think. Right, if it was 12 metres long, it would be 12 add 12 is 24. Add 1, which give me a perimeter of 26 metres. 26 metres. Now that is a different perimeter than this blue shape, which has got a perimeter of 4, add 4, which is 8, add 3, which is 14. So the blue shape has got a perimeter, let's write that down. Blue shape has got a perimeter of 14 metres. And we've just said if we give this yellow shape the size 12 and 1, we would have a perimeter of 26 metres. Which would work for our question. They've got to have the same area but a different perimeter. So that would work. Let's try the 2 and 6 one that we came up with then. Would that work, I wonder? So if my width was 2 metres and my length was 6 metres, okay, we know the area is going to be 12, but this time the perimeter is going to be different. So let's go 6 add 6 is 12, add 2, so add 2 is 14, add another 2 would give me 16. So that is another answer that I could have. Either of these two answers would work for this question. Okay, final question that we're going to have a look at then today, then year 6. Again, it says we've got 2 rectangles that have the same area. It says find the missing length. So again, the key is here to work out what the area of the rectangle is that they've given us the length for. So the blue rectangle, they've said the length is 6 and the width is 4. So let's find the area then. 6 times 4 gives 24. So our area is 24 metres squared for this rectangle. Now they've said that this yellow rectangle has got the same area. So we know for this yellow rectangle, the area is going to equal 24 metres squared. And they've given us the length of one of the sides. They've told us that one of the sides is 8. So we've got 8 times by something gives the answer 24. Well, the other way of doing that is to do 24 divided by 8. So the width of my rectangle must be 3 metres. So 8 times 3 gives 24. Both the rectangles have got the same area, but they have got different side lengths. Okay, year 6. So today's maths is just combining what you've been looking at over the last 2 days. The trickiest thing today is not getting mixed up between what area is and what perimeter is. The keys to success are there on the screen. If you need to keep referring back to them to have a look at how you calculate area and how you calculate perimeter, they're there for you to have a look at. So your tasks on maths.co.uk are very similar to the kind of questions I've just gone through there. If you choose to do the stretch today, it's just going to ask you about the inverse. So it's going to ask you, rather than recognising shapes with the same area but different perimeters, it's going to be looking at shapes with the same perimeters but different areas if you have a go at those today. Okay, year 6, remember, if you're struggling with anything, let us know and we will try to help you in either the calls or the chat.